that's what they do. For our youth, we have to start targeting and gearing, celebrating those journeys. Those are the wrong journeys to celebrate, young men. There's no reward for coming home after 30 years. You don't get no care package or failure. Get your out here and help these kids. Pay that back forward. You see what I'm saying? That's the reward. I got time to come straight home. If I don't do what they want me to do for them, I'm a sellout. I'm a sucker. Nigga,
right?
I done did the whole bit with them. I done been to Walmart 100 times, paying and meeting guards, doing all kinds of supposed to be doing with you, Nick. But
as soon as you say no one time,
they done forgot about the other 99 times you said yes. You know?
That's the cold thing.
I got a buddy right now, man.
What's up, y'all? It's your man, Mike Epps, man. I just want to get on here and clarify and clear a few things up. Number one, about the brothers coming home from prison being celebrated. I've always been a part of reform. I got brothers right now from my hometown that I'm trying to help come home. They've been in prison forever. I think you guys might have misunderstood what I was saying. I might have said it the wrong way, but what I was trying to say is we don't want to send kids mixed messages about coming home from prison, being celebrated, you know, feeling like you got to go to prison and do 30, 40 years to be celebrated. I think you guys misunderstood that, you know, misunderstood what I said. Wasn't saying that it was wrong to be celebrated, but we don't want to send a message to the kids saying prison is great, that you want to go home, go do 30 years and come home. You know, I don't think that's cool. So I'm sorry if anybody took it the wrong way and got offended. I love my brothers. I've been incarcerated myself. I understand what that is, but I might have said it the wrong way, but I mean well. And I love you, brothers. Free my brothers that's coming home. My man Derek, free all the guys that's coming home, man. And about the food stamp thing. The food stamp thing was misunderstood too. What I was saying is that we need to break the cycle of being on food stamps. There's 3 generations of people that have been on food stamps. But grandmother, mother, and daughter, that's crazy. We gotta do better. We can't think that we need assistance. I know there's some people out there that need assistance. That's well, fine, and understood. But there's people out there taking advantage of the system that's not good. So just want to apologize if I offended anybody. You know I love y'all, man. And
after the podcast clip ends, the conversation around Mike Epps' comments becomes clear. His original remarks were pulled from a discussion about how communities sometimes celebrate the wrong things, especially when it comes to young men returning home after long prison sentences. In that clip, the speaker emphasized that doing 30 years in prison should not be treated as an achievement and should not be showcased as a life path worth admiration. He explained that young men watching these celebrations might interpret the wrong message, thinking long prison time is something that earns respect or recognition. He said the real reward should be helping the next generation avoid the same mistakes, not glorifying the struggle that comes with incarceration. Those statements set the context that later created confusion once they were connected to Mike Epps. When Mike Epps spoke in the original context of the conversation, he was attempting to echo the same message, that prison is not something to glorify, and that the focus should stay on preventing young men from following that path. But viewers online did not see the full discussion. Isolated clips began circulating and were interpreted as Mike Epps criticizing men returning home after long sentences. That quickly turned into backlash, with many people accusing him of disrespecting formerly incarcerated men who had endured decades behind bars under harsh circumstances. The reaction was fast and widespread because the internet received the message without context, which made it seem as though he was attacking men instead of addressing the message being sent to the youth. As criticism increased, people began claiming that Mike Epps was out of touch, insensitive, or dismissive of what men go through while incarcerated. Comments accused him of forgetting his own background and the struggles he has publicly acknowledged in the past. Some argued that celebrating someone's release is not glorifying prison, but expressing support for a person who survived an incredibly difficult experience. Many insisted that men who come home after decades inside deserve recognition, resources, and community support rather than judgment. These interpretations spread quickly, and because the clip's statements lacked the nuance of what he originally meant, the backlash grew louder. Mike Epps responded directly to the criticism through a recorded message. He opened by stating he wanted to clarify his point because many people misunderstood what he was trying to say. He explained that he has always supported prison reform efforts and has actively worked to help men from his hometown come home after long sentences. He emphasized that he was not speaking against those men, nor was he saying they do not deserve respect or support. Instead, he said his comments were aimed at the impact these celebrations might have on younger individuals who may see release celebrations as something admirable rather than a reminder to avoid incarceration entirely. He continued by explaining that he takes the issue seriously because the youth often misinterpret these public displays. He said the problem is not the celebration itself, but the potential message it sends to impressionable young men who already face pressure from their environment. According to him, the goal should be teaching boys that prison is not a step toward manhood, not a milestone to be proud of, and not something to aspire to. He made it clear that choosing prison as a badge of honor is a dangerous narrative that has affected communities for generations. His intention, he said, was to prevent this messaging from spreading any further. Mike Epps also acknowledged that his original wording may have created confusion. He said he could have stated his point more clearly, and that he understood how some people took offense. By addressing this directly, he aimed to make it clear that he was not distancing himself from people who have been incarcerated. He reminded viewers that he has personal experience with incarceration and fully understands the challenges people face when they come home after long periods. He said his comments came from a place of love and concern, not criticism. The backlash also included criticism about remarks he made regarding food stamps, which some viewers interpreted as attacking people who rely on assistance programs. In his clarification, he addressed this point as well. He said he wasn't criticizing individuals who truly need assistance. He acknowledged that many families depend on support to survive. His concern was with generational cycles where entire families have become dependent on assistance for decades, which he believes hold communities back. He emphasized that breaking these cycles is important for long-term growth, and his comments were about creating opportunities, not shaming those in need. Throughout his explanation, Mike Epps repeated that he meant well and that his intention was to protect the youth from dangerous narratives that could influence their decisions. He stressed that celebrating the return of an incarcerated person is not the issue. The issue is glorification. He said he supports his brothers, has helped many men come home, and continues to support reform efforts. He apologized to anyone who misunderstood his message and expressed appreciation for those who listened fully rather than reacting to short clips. The situation highlights how online reactions can escalate quickly when context is missing. Mike Epps' clarification focused on restoring that context and making his point clear. Prison should never be seen as an accomplishment, and the priority should be guiding young men away from choices that lead to incarceration. His message was ultimately about unity, support, and prevention, not disrespect. After addressing the main misunderstanding, Mike Epps expanded on why he believed the conversation around prison and community support needs more honesty. He explained that returning citizens deserve help, stability, and opportunity, but the culture around incarceration has created mixed messages for younger people. He said that when kids see celebrations without understanding the pain, isolation, and irreversible time loss, they begin forming false ideas about what prison represents. His goal was to steer the narrative toward prevention rather than glorification. He emphasized that incarceration causes trauma, breaks families apart, and takes years away that can never be recovered. Presenting that reality clearly, he said, is far more important for the youth than any temporary celebration. Mike Epps then focused on the responsibility of men who return home. He said the real reward is using their experience to guide younger generations away from repeating the same mistakes. He stressed that men who have been incarcerated for decades possess valuable insight into survival, discipline, and the consequences of certain choices, and that sharing this knowledge with the youth carries more impact than any welcome home celebration. He pointed out that young men often listen more closely to people who have lived through the experience than those who have only observed it from the outside. His message was that mentorship and community involvement are far more meaningful than symbolic celebrations that may send the wrong signal. He also addressed the idea that people often demand loyalty from those who return home, but forget that loyalty works both ways. In the original podcast section, the speaker described how individuals expect unwavering support from returning citizens even when they haven't provided that same support during the person's incarceration. Mike Epps tied this into his message by explaining that real loyalty doesn't come from expectations or pressure. It comes from mutual respect, care, and accountability. He said men who come home should not feel obligated to engage in behavior that puts them at risk simply because someone else expects it. The priority, he said, should be re-entry, healing, and contributing positively, not being pulled back into destructive cycles. During his clarification, Mike Epps repeated that the backlash stemmed from people only hearing part of the conversation. He said that without full context, it was easy for viewers to misunderstand his tone or meaning. He reassured his audience that he has always spoken up for men who were wrongly incarcerated, men serving excessive sentences, and men who face difficult transitions after release. He referenced having friends who are still behind bars and said he continues to support them financially and emotionally. His point was that his history showed commitment to the cause, not disconnect. He then moved back to the issue of sending the right message to young men. Mike Epps said the problem is not celebrating a man's freedom. The problem is when some people treat incarceration like an expected rite of passage. He said this mindset has harmed generations and shifted focus away from education, opportunity, and long-term goals. He stressed that it is important for adults to redirect the celebration toward growth, responsibility, and life after prison, rather than the prison experience itself. He encouraged communities to celebrate positive change, not incarceration. When clarifying the food stamp statement, he highlighted that the intention was not to attack families who need assistance. He acknowledged that economic hardships force many people to rely on programs designed to support vulnerable populations. However, he said the issue becomes concerning when dependency spans multiple generations without any attempt to move forward. His message was about empowering families to break cycles of poverty, access better opportunities, and not accept hardship as a permanent condition. By explaining this, he aimed to clear up the misconception that he looked down on people who use assistance programs. Throughout his entire response, Mike Epps maintained a calm and respectful tone. He did not insult anyone who disagreed with him, nor did he dismiss the concerns raised by the public. Instead, he chose to clarify, correct, and explain the intention behind his words. He apologized to anyone who felt hurt and acknowledged that he may not have communicated his thoughts as clearly as he intended. This approach helped shift the conversation from backlash to understanding as more viewers watched the full clarification. He ended with a message of unity and growth. He repeated that he loves his brothers who are coming home and wants to see them thrive. He encouraged communities to support these men in building better futures and using their experiences to mentor younger people. He emphasized the importance of helping one another rather than creating conflict, misunderstanding, or division. His message highlighted the value of accountability, guidance, and breaking harmful cycles so future generations can avoid the same struggles. Mike Epps concluded by thanking those who listened with an open mind and those who sought the full context instead of reacting to clips. He said he stands by his intention to uplift the community and help young people make better choices. His message was ultimately about promoting positive outcomes, reducing harmful narratives, and ensuring that celebrations focus on growth rather than incarceration. The clarification served to realign the conversation and reinforce his long-standing commitment to supporting brothers returning home and pushing for better opportunities for the next generation.